The Boston Bruins are coming off of two very similar games against the Washington Capitals, one of which we covered on this channel. The other one was not covered because where I live there was 3 feet of snow, so couldn't get the time to film. Anyway, relatively similar games with the Bruins for the first 10 minutes of a period looked really, really good. Couldn't get anything in the back of the net. Then Washington proceeded to score 3, and the Bruins didn't look good. And then towards the end of the game, the third period, they storm back, either tie the game and lose in overtime, or they score 5 unanswered to beat the Washington Capitals in regulation. Regardless, you see the trend. A very hot start to begin the game. The second period's a bit of a mess, and then they storm back and win it in the third period. It's potentially unsustainable. But now the Bruins go from Washington to Philadelphia, where they take on a team that they beat twice at home, and one of those was a 6-1 beatdown. But since that game, the Philadelphia Flyers have won 4 straight and are looking to avenge that 6-1 loss inside their own barn. So we'll see if the Bruins can pull something off on the next, or on this, Bruins Recap Show.
Boston Bruins.
We start things off in the first period, and for Boston it is 2 U's, 2 K's, Tuukka Rask. He goes one-on-one with Carter Hart, the goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers. And a little bit of a different look on the Boston fourth line as the coolest man on ice, Carson Kuhlman. He is out of the lineup tonight. In his place is Anton Bleed, making his first start for the Boston Bruins in a very, very long time for the 6', 25-year-old left winger. And in the time that it took for me to mention that, the Boston Bruins have already put the puck in the net, as it's a face-off win from Patrice Bergeron to Charlie McAvoy. David Pastrnak does a cycle around to his off-wing boards, gets the puck, and goes right in, dekes around Shane Gostisbehere by going in his own legs, and takes a shot. It goes off, I believe, the stick of Ivan Provorov, and in 12 seconds into the game, the Boston Bruins are up 1-0. It's just a great overall first period for Boston. Some great forechecking pressure, multiple chances, but just nothing happening outside of that first goal. They just really couldn't connect on a couple of net front tip-in opportunities. It could have been 3, 4, 5-0 at some point in this game in the first period alone, forcing the Philadelphia Flyers to make a ton of own zone turnovers. Just an overall wonderful period for Boston, but the scoreboard says 1-0. We go to the second period, and Kevin Hayes, who initially on this play breaks the stick of Charlie McAvoy, or at least it looked like it. That possibly could have been a slashing call, but either way, they get away with it. And so Boston on a de facto 4-on-5 as they're playing one man without a stick, and it's power play style movement from the Philadelphia Flyers. Vanacek goes over to Sandheim. He goes over to James Van Riemsdyk. James Van Riemsdyk finds Kevin Hayes in the slot. One times it. Rask gets just a little bit of it. Doesn't get all of it. It goes in. What a shot by Kevin Hayes. Makes it a 1-1 hockey game. Boston still pretty much the better team in this period, but Philadelphia really starting to store back and kind of even off the ice. So we go to the room 1-1. And in the third period, things start to get a little bit out of hand as the Philadelphia Flyers, James Van Riemsdyk winning a puck battle against Charlie McAvoy. He passes the puck towards the front. It bounces off of Patrice Bergeron's stick, ends up on the stick of Sandheim, who takes a shot. It might have been an intentionally wide shot because everyone forgets about Jakub Voracek, who went behind the net. He's a wide open chance, scores 2-1 Philadelphia. A little bit later on, Charlie McAvoy trying to pinch in, keep the puck in the attacking zone. It gets poked away by James Van Riemsdyk, and it goes right to Lawton. It's a 2-on-1 with Jakub Zaboral, and it's a blast by Joel Farabee, and Tuukka Rask, no chance on this opportunity. The Boston Bruins again find themselves trailing in a 3-1 hole, but a little bit later on in the third period, the Boston Bruins are on the power play, and it's David Krejci down to Brad Marchand on the boards. He passes it low to Nick Ritchie. Ritchie over to Bergeron in front of the net. Bergeron could have taken the shot right here, but he does something very, very good. He passes it over to David Pastrnak, who is wide open. And this is just an absolute cannon of a shot. Hits the net, bounces out. Steve Kazzari, this shot is so hard. Steve Kazzari, haven't seen anything this hard since the last time he took a blue pill. Tried to wave it off and then realizes that the net is moving. He calls it a goal on the power play. David Pastrnak, second of the game, makes it a 3-2 hockey game. Towards the end of the game, the Bruins still trailing by 1. They're on the power play. They pull the goaltender, but they are struggling to get this puck into the zone and get any attacking zone pressure. But eventually they do. David Krejci takes the shot. It ends up and hits bodies in front of the net. Ends up on the stick of Patrice Bergeron. Spin around a shot. Hits bodies in net. All kinds of chaos and confusion. Puck bouncing everywhere. It ends up on the stick of David Pastrnak. He buries it for his third of the game on the power play. That is a hat trick. Hats everywhere, except no hats anywhere because there are no fans in the stands. The Boston Bruins come down from a 3-1 hole for the third time, and they come back to tie it up for the third straight game in a row. 14.9 seconds remaining in the game. And you think that we're going to go straight to overtime, but no, the Boston Bruins will end up on the power play again. And this is maybe the dumbest, or just an overall dumb play by Scott Lawton, as the puck was already heading towards the corner. There was already a Philadelphia Flyer very, very close to getting that puck. Scott Lawton has no reason to make any sort of contact with Sean Kuraly. If he just stays in the spot that he was in, or maybe makes a little bit of a play without making contact with Kuraly, he still does the de facto same thing of forcing Sean Kuraly to go around him, which gives the defender who was getting the puck in the corner a little bit more time. But either way, he makes unnecessary contact. That's going to be a penalty call almost all the time. Maybe the exception is the playoffs. You get away with that. Either way, the Boston Bruins will take a power play into overtime. And on that overtime power play, David Krejci and David Pastrnak playing a little bit of catch in the diamond formation. Pastrnak takes a shot looking for that Bergeron tip. Bergeron gets the tip, saved by Carter Hart. Bergeron then gets the rebound, pops it in on the power play. The Boston Bruins take 2 away from the Philadelphia Flyers, 4-3 in overtime. And the Boston Bruins have successfully gotten points in their last 7 games, going 6-0-1. That 0-1 being the only overtime loss against the Washington Capitals, I should say. 3 straight come from behind victories. 2 against Washington, 1 now against the Flyers. My word, this is starting to get ridiculous. 3 stars of the game real quick. Star number 1, Brad Marchand. Give him an assist. He continues a point streak, I believe. Star number 2, 4-point night for Patrice Bergeron. 3 assists and a goal. The game winner. But more importantly, star number 1, 5 goals in his last 2 games. 5 goals since coming back. Only 3 games in, he's got 5 goals. 3 on the night and an assist. A 4-point night for David Pastrnak. The Boston Bruins look to keep this momentum going as they got another matchup Friday night against the Philadelphia Flyers. The 4th game of 8 against the Flyers. And it'll be the last hockey game the Bruins will play for maybe a week, as both the Buffalo Sabres and I believe the New Jersey Devils are dealing with with a bit of a COVID outbreak. So we'll see how that goes, as I know the 2 Buffalo games have already been postponed. I got to double check about the New Jersey games, but we'll talk about that Friday night as the Bruins get the Flyers one more time. We'll see you then on the Bruins Recap Show.